Welcome back to the Players Tour Finals, everybody. It is the lower finals, Corey. It is going to be Riku Kumagai versus Michael Jacob. Both aggressive decks, both that I would have loved to see in the finals, but only one can get there to meet Christoph Prince on the 4-color reclamation. Corey, what's your predictions? Let's see if we can get this one right.
Hey, I'm running hot. I got the last one right. I'm 1 of 4. Right here, I like Riku. Riku and Michael Jacob already played earlier in this tournament. Riku won a very close one in 3 games. I think he's going to be able to do it again, but it's going to be very close.
It is going to be close. I can't wait to see these players go at it. So without further ado, friends, let's see who our second finalist is going to be. Here we go. Riku Kumagai, Mono Black Aggro, Michael Jacob on Mardu Winota. Both of these decks have been the hero we all need, as we've seen so much support for them. These rogue lists submitted, and now here they are, just one more foe to defeat to get into the finals.
To get into the finals of this Players Tour Finals is such a huge deal, so much on the line here. I am so excited.
As am I. Let's see how the opening hands look here. Not exactly what Michael wants. You can see he's not super keen on that. We've got Venerated Loxodon and Woe Strider. Mulligans finds Lazotep Reaver and the Venerated Loxodon once again. So you gotta think possibly gonna keep this one?
Yeah, I think you have to. You know, there's a couple draws here to be able to curve out Loxodon. You know, very smoothly for turn 3 or at worst turn 4. So I think you have to keep this. Going to 5 is too bad.
Yep, let's not go to 5. Send back a land, and let's just find the cards that we need off the top of the library. Please, is what Michael Jacob is thinking. On the other side, though, Riku Kumagai's got a pretty good-looking starting hand. We got Knight of the Ebon Legion into Kitesail Freebooter, plus some removal to get rid of any threats on the battlefield. So you gotta think he's pretty happy with that.
Yeah, you gotta be happy with that. Heartless Act is kind of an awkward spot in this matchup because Michael Jacob puts so many counters onto things. So it's not the best removal. You really just want to get a target with it and just kind of aim it at anything.
Yeah, perhaps a Winota or a Venerated Loxodon if it does resolve. So Kitesail Freebooter doesn't get to hit anything, but that's to be expected in a very creature-heavy deck. You're not gonna find much there besides the Raise the Alarm, as we're gonna see Lazotep Reaver run out.
Yeah, Kitesail Freebooter just checks Raise the Alarm in this entire Game 1 configuration, so not the ideal card from Riku, I imagine.
Not at all. As we're going to see an attack in here with the Kitesail Freebooter and the Knights of the Ebon Legion. Do we see the pump is the question. Yes, we do. In for 5.
All right, now MJ wants a 1-drop so bad here.
Ooh,
oh.
finds it.
That was
Hello.
huge.
Yes, please.
That was huge.
And now unable to kill any of these creatures before they get their counter put on them, but Venerated Loxodon is still easy pickings there for that Heartless Act. We've got Timoret, chosen from death off the top of the library, and we're going to jam Rankle Master of Pranks and just start swinging in the air here with these flyers.
Yeah, I can't emphasize enough how big that Selfless Savior was, because not only is it an additional 2 power for free there, but also can protect Venerated Loxodon from Heartless Act later, so huge draw.
Exactly. Rankle Master of Pranks now deciding which of the 3 modes, if not all of them, he's going to go for here.
I would assume we're sacking a creature because Kitesail Freebooter is so bad that no matter what you're upgrading, essentially, with Michael Jacob sacrificing a 2-power creature when you're giving up a 1-power creature. Wow.
Doesn't look like we went for anything there. Interesting.
Interesting.
All right.
It makes sense.
Kitesail Freebooter gets to live one more turn.
You definitely don't want to discard because we know MJ, Riku knows this as well. MJ has some extra lands here. All right. Seems to just be another big Loxodon.
Oh my goodness. This is a very, very strong start here from Michael Jacob. Riku Kumagai looks to be floundering just a little bit with not too much going for him outside of Timoret, chosen from death. Castle Locthwain. Pretty nice pickup there for later in the game.
Yeah, if there is a later in the game. At this rate, I mean, Venerated Loxodon, just with how much it snowballs to just create so much additional pressure right now, is so hard for these mono black decks to deal with when most of their stuff is on a 1-for-1 basis that they're answering threats.
So it looks like Riku is just putting foot here. He's like, okay, I have a Kitetail freebooter. Sure, it's not great, but it's an extra point of damage in the air. So this is just face race time now, right?
Yeah, and look at this, Alias V. Right now, we have Rankle and Kitetail Freebooter coming in. That's 5 damage if we draw a card off Rankle, and MJ is at 10, so this is 2 swings. So if Riku can survive one more attack step and Michael Jacob doesn't have a flyer, this could just be over and Riku could steal this.
Okay, going in with the entire team here. Oh, no. Decided against it. Gonna leave the Knight of the Ebon Legion back and follow up this attack with a Timuret Chosen from Death and a Heartless Act to protect against one of these Loxodon here.
Yep. I know what Michael Jacob wants to draw off this Rankle, though. Winota would easily threaten to close this game out here.
What does he find? Is Lazotep Reaver and another Heartless Act. Okay, all right. So that's going to deal with both Loxodon. Well, kind of, knowing that there's a Selfless Savior that can protect one of them at least, but that's 2 less creatures on the battlefield that Riku has to deal with finding that Heartless Act.
And most importantly, it deals with 2 Winotas if it were to hit the play, because Selfless Saver would sack in response to one of them. Heartless Act number 2 would deal with it, and I think that's the only thing right now that Riku has on his mind that is really scary. So right now, Riku, you saw kind of sit up in his chair when he drew that second Heartless Act. That's how big it was to play around Selfless Savior if Winota's in Michael Jacob's hand, which it's not.
It's not right now, but we are cycling. We're going to try and find it. Let's see what's on top of the library here. Our play can be the Lazotep Reaver for Michael Jacob. Unfortunately, just finding land, so not much going there for him here.
Just the power of Rankle, Master of Pranks here, and just the ability of flying, where Michael Jacob cannot really interact too effectively there, even trumping the power of 2 Loxodons here. Pretty impressive.
He's just dead in the air now.
Yeah, this is just game.
Nothing he can do, unfortunately. We're going to swing in with Rankle, draw the card. That's 5 damage. Here we go. Riku Kumagai on Mono Black picks up the first win in pretty commanding fashion. Rankle, Master of Pranks, just proving to be an incredibly powerful card in this matchup.
Yeah, unreal. I need to just take a deep breath. This is just so edge of your seat magic here. Every turn matters so much.
Like, you know, at one point it's like, oh yeah, no, I mean, Michael is just so far ahead here. And then all of a sudden there's Rankle. There's 3 damage in the air, plus the Kitetail Freebooter, 4 damage in the air every single turn. And then whoops, you're dead.
Exactly. And Riku played that turn with the first Rankle connection excellently. We both kind of thought, like, why don't you sacrifice Freebooter? You know, you're kind of even footing here. But Freebooter exactly made it lethal over the course of 2 turns. Yeah. So very heads up play from Riku to not activate Rankle that first time.
Yeah, evasion is a very, very big deal here because none of these creatures that that Michael has deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Michael, you know, would have been very happy top decking like a Freebooter as just a blocker. We know that that wouldn't have worked because of Heartless Act, but just didn't find any ways to interact with Rankle at all.
Post board, though, we will see a few ways to do so. We've got Devout Decrees that are going to be coming in.
Yep.
Just to get rid of that pesky little critter. Well, I say little, it's a 3/3 in the air. That damage adds up over time.
Exactly. Yeah, we're seeing all the removal that Michael Jacob has access to, Giant Killer, Devout Decree, Eliminate, all coming in to be able to interact with, you know, the key spells or the key Knight of Ebon Legion or some giant creature like that. Leaves in all the freebooters as well.
Knowing that there's going to be some removal.
Yep. Trying to protect Winota at all costs. So, all right, game number 2.
Friends, if you're just joining us, this is the lower finals. Riku Kumagai versus Michael Jacob. One of these players will go on to face Christoph Prince on 4-color Reclamation in the upper finals. We're going to find our champion very, very soon, but we still need to determine who our final finalist is going to be.
2 very reactive hands from both players here. Yeah. And I mean, these cries are going to be very effective if they're going to be played at the correct time. If you ever get, you know, an X2 beefed up with venerated Loxodon, these Cry of the Carnariums look terrible really quickly. So it's all going to be about timing here from Riku.
They do, but one card I'm eyeing out in Riku's hand is that Karvek the Spiteful, giving all creatures -1/-1. So, you know, in conjunction with the Cry of the Carnarium, we could possibly see, you know, even creatures with counters on them being sent to exile.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just have to wait to see how this shakes out as we get things going here. Woe Strider down on the battlefield. There's the goat token. Devout Decree and Kudro in hand.
Yeah, the Spiteful is a very good narrow card. I don't think it was exactly for this matchup. It just screams mono white to me because that deck was just all tokens. Seems like an excellent card against them, but definitely has some application in this matchup.
Oh yeah, for sure. Michael Jacob just taking a turn off there, getting Gigantha into hand. Heartless Act drawn off the top of the library.
Gigantha not super effective here because there's these Noxious Grasp and Heartless Axe to just deal with it straight away, but it is just that free value that this Mardu Winota deck can play, so why not?
Yeah, if not, why not? So Spawn of Mayhem being run out here, knowing that there's a Devout Decree in hand, so easy decision there for Michael. Let's get rid of this big powerful threat in the air, raise the alarm. Gonna get sent to the bottom.
Yeah, it seems like we are just on a plan of trying to find Winota at all costs.
I kind of like that plan. We see Winota close out games, easy peasy.
Yeah, Michael Jacob has been using that mentality for the 3 days straight here. Just find Winota.
Just find Winota, but it's going to be a little tricky to get that to stick considering Riku's hand right now. Looking at 2 Heartless Acts and the Noxious Grasp.
Yeah, all removal here. Really tough choice here from Riku, whether or not to just play your only threat or hold it back and just keep using up your removal and kind of save your only creature for a little later time after you've used up all your Cry the Carnariums.
Yeah, a bit of a tricky spot here. What would you do, Corey?
I would cry. Not actually cry, but I would cast Cry of the Carnarium. Just because if there is a Loxodon on the other side, it feels so bad that even just the Lazotep Reaver gets up to 3 toughness when you could have done something to prevent it.
Yeah. So now both players presenting threats from Michael Jacob's side. Riku just killing everything that lands on the battlefield, draws something proactive in the Knight of the Ebon Legion. So it looks like we're going to head towards that little creature first, just get that down on the battlefield in the way of Gigantha the Wellspring.
Yep, and this is the first time that Riku has been kind of able to play threats with all the Cry of the Carnariums. In his opening hand, he wasn't really incentivized to play out any creatures, but now without those, here it's time to jam.
Oh, yes. Man, it's very, very unlucky there for Michael to find that Loxodon after this battlefield has just been dispatched. Cry after cry, Heartless Acts. And now it looks like Riku is able to start applying some pressure after dealing with that battlefield. He's in a pretty good position where he can just start dumping threats down and putting up a very good fight here against this Mardu Winota list.
Exactly. I love playing Spawn here. Sure, you're going to take a hit from this Lieutenant, but
Ooh, okay.
All right, we just have a human in play, so Winota does not trigger off this, so I'm guessing we're just going to take a little bit of damage. Something that Riku actually doesn't mind that much, because getting yourself to, the dangerous life total of around 10, Spawn starts getting bigger, so that 1 damage is 1 to you, but 2 to your opponent, essentially, with the pump. And here we go.
Oh yeah. Loxodon has some friends on the battlefield, though. They're slightly bigger than he's used to, but I'm pretty sure that Michael Jacob won't mind this, as now General Kudro and Bazri's Lieutenant have a little few extra counters on it, and some insurance against any removal spells, as with Bazri on the battlefield, he does create night tokens when a creature with counters on them dies.
Yep, so I think this is a pretty scripted turn from Riku. I think you just have to Noxious Grasp that Lieutenant, get it out of there, and then just Heartless Act while you can. The Loxodon, or hold it for Winota, but you gotta be dealing with this board from Michael Jacob. These creatures are huge.
They are, but you still gotta think he's pretty ahead here, just, based on the number of cards he has, the number of interactive spells he has. His creatures can get really, really big as well. Let's not forget that.
Agreed. Yeah, this is anyone's game right now. This is very close.
All right, first things first, Noxious Grasp. Bazri's Lieutenant dies. leaves behind the Knight token. Importantly, this is another trigger for Winota too. So keeping back that Heartless Act is going to be very, very good here for Riku.
And not Noxious Grasping on Michael Jacobs' turn could end up being a little rough because that token can attack. We know this Winota is just going to die anyways, but that was something that was, you know, a little risky. But I guess when you have Heartless Act, it truly doesn't matter.
Ooh, here's a nice thing that we can do in response, though. General Kudro can sacrifice 2 humans. He'd have to sacrifice himself, though, to get rid of that Spawn of Mayhem. Do we think he does that?
God, that is close. The Spawn of Mayhem is definitely a very scary threat.
We're going for it.
Wow.
Nice.
And I mean, honestly, General Kudro already is a 4/4 that would just trade with Spawn of Mayhem. So it makes sense to just get the value while you can. Get in there for 6 and say, hey, deal with it.
Down to 9 now goes Riku Kumagai. Michael Jacob putting his foot down. There goes the elephant. Swinging on in. Another Heartless Act. Wow. It's just removal.deck, isn't it?
Exactly. I think I kind of predicted this. Looking at the matchup, I just figured Riku would turn into essentially a mono black control list, just trying to make sure you have removal up on your opponent's turn every single chance that they could cast Winota and you could get free value. Because if that card ever triggers, even once or twice against a deck that is going all 1-for-1 removal, it's over.
Yeah. So Riku's been doing a very good job here of just preventing any insane turns from Michael Jacob here, who still has a pretty good board state considering.
Yeah, and a little bit of an awkward spot here. We can get one of these Venerated Loxodons through a Knight of the Ebon Legion with that Castle Embrith, but is it worth it? Right now, you just want to make sure Riku's mana is tied up, and whenever Riku taps out for something, then attack, but not given the option with the removal spell.
Ooh, Agonizing Remorse off the top with nothing in hand to take a look at. No threats in the graveyard worth exiling right now, so we'll hold on to that. Just one Knight swinging on in. Let's pump it up, and let's get some counters going. All of a sudden now it's shifted.
Yeah, these games have been super swingy, and now it's going to be interesting. Are we going to see a block from Riku here with this Knight? I think it's super close. Because one more turn of connecting for 4 damage with Riku, and the second Knight of the Ebon Legion is out of range from this token with a Castle Embreth. So decides to value the life total higher than this.
All right, but now Michael Jacob is out of gas. And Hunted Nightmare off the top of the library. This is the perfect time to deploy that. Oh, man. Just look at that. It's like, oh, cool, you have no more creatures left. And a Fabled Passage off the top of the library. Now Riku Kumagai can just put foot on the gas and can possibly win this in a clean 2-0 here against Michael Jacob.
Unreal. I mean, this amount of lands is what we usually see from the Teamer Reclamation side. Michael Jacob just has no control over how many lands he draws. It is just unfortunate that he flooded in one of the biggest moments in probably both of their careers. Come on.
Insult to injury. This is just so unfortunate for Michael Jacob, but Riku Kumagai is our second finalist here in the upper finals. Congratulations, Mono Black Aggro, getting it done. Amazing.
Wow, absolutely amazing.
I think that was the shortest game we could have possibly seen. Just blink and you'll miss it. People are tuning in like, oh, cool, let's check out the lower finals. It's done. Riku Kumagai is in the finals with Christoph Prince. Amazing. Any final thoughts there, Corey?
I mean, I just have to say, Riku played that so well, and you know he is just jacked to be able to get a rematch against Christoph Prince in the finals. It's going to be so excited to watch, and I cannot wait for the next match.
I bet Christoph is not happy to see another Mono Black matchup, but this is going to be one epic game. So friends, do not move. We will be back after this break with our finals. Thank you so much for being here. That's it from myself and from Corey. We're going to now go get comfy on our couches and watch the finals. We'll see you after this.
So we've got some mulligans here, Martin. Jensen is going down to 5. Burkhart's on 6.
Wow,
this could be really bad news for Jensen. How well would you say this Lotus Breach deck mulligans in general?
Not super well, because you do need 2 lands and a Lotus, and then the lower your starting hand size is, the more awkward cards like Hidden Strings get, because, you know, Hidden String is great when I'm casting other cards that draw me more cards and stuff, but what am I going to keep on 5? 3 lands?
So Jensen, by the way, does have access now to blue and green mana. I believe his Thespian Stage copied Watery Grave, and he found a forest. So maybe there's a way for him to build up resources. It just doesn't feel like he can overcome the sheer amount of disruption that Corey has sitting in his hand.
Yeah, now Corey knows that all he needs to do is basically just to copy his red twice at the end of Huey's turn, because even if Huey does draw that natural estate, he doesn't have anything left to go with it. Corey's trying to figure out, okay, if I make more copies now, I get to attack for more. I just need to make sure that I have lethal next turn. So what exactly is my play going to be? 2, 4, 6. He has access to 8 mana. I believe he's just going to attack for 4, because if he makes 2 rats at the end of Huey's turn, that's attacking for at least 16 the turn after.
And this is just Corey being as safe as humanly possible. He fires off Thoughtseize.
Quite a comeback.
And now he's about to win this tournament. And he's doing math. This is combat math for Corey. Not something he's accustomed to doing with his control
it's like, wait, I have to attack with creatures? What am I doing?
He's like, can I afford to go ahead and cast Drown in the Lock on this? And he can make a rat on your end step.
All of them are 3/3s, but if he makes 2 more copies on his own
and
turn,
that does it. Corey Burkhart wins Players Tour Phoenix.
Well, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. It is time for the championship match here in the Players Tour Finals. I'm Maria Bartholdi. I've got Cedric Phillips and Riley Knight with me here on our virtual news desk. And let's throw up the bracket so we can see the road that these two players who made our championship finals took to get here to this moment. Cedric, your thoughts?
Well, that last match didn't waste any time, did they? They said, let's get these finals over with. I think Riku might start to get a little tired right now, if I had to guess, given what time it is over there in Japan. So he made short work of Michael Jacob, and it's been a lot of fun to watch both these upper and lower brackets kind of unfold. 8 players who had to wait a week and able to get their battle on. But now we come to, of course, because why wouldn't we? Beat it or join it. Reclamation, which side are you on? Do you want to see it win this whole tournament, or do you want to see it get stomped on by mono black creatures?
You know, it is kind of poetic, isn't it, Cedric? This is just emblematic of the entire tournament that we've seen this week in Reclamation, or the deck that came to beat it. Riley, heading into these grand finals, what are your takeaways?
Oh, look, I'm a little torn because obviously, you know, in a former life, I used to live in Berlin, got a great affinity for the country of Germany, and obviously Prinz, as a Hanover native, I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table. But of course, I do come from the Eastern Hemisphere. I come from Australia. I come from a country that, you know, is in the same sort of time zone as Riku. It's 7:30 in the morning, or 7:15 in the morning, same sort of time in Australia. So my loyalties are very divided. I think at the end of the day, I've got to go for the deck that has come here to upset the apple cart. I've got to go for Riku Kumagai. He's come here to beat Team of Reclamation, and I really, really hope he can go the distance with Mono Black.
Well, let's take a look at our players here who we'll be seeing in our championship match. That's right, Christoph Prinz and Riku Kumagai, 4-color Reclamation versus Mono Black Aggro. And this is a grudge match. Prinz already took down Kumagai once during this top 8. Can he do it again? Let's take a look at some of his highlights, Riley, of the tournament so far.
Yeah, look, we've seen incredible performances from Prinz both last weekend and this weekend. It's been really phenomenal to see the German just play his trade with one of the best decks in not just the tournament, but the format, really. Whether you like Team, whether you like 4-color, Reclamation is really the deck to beat. And what's been incredible is his ability to play the field, right? Went 9-0 against some very different decks, and here managed to pull a real rabbit out of the hat, beating a matchup that he claims to be the very worst in the top 8. So, you know, things might be stacked against Prinz a little bit as we head towards the final, but you know he's got the heart for it. You know he's got the hunger for it. And look, I wouldn't be surprised to see him take it down. Having said that, Riku Kumagai, of course, has built this deck more or less to beat 4-color Reclamation, to beat Wilderness Reclamation strategies on all those extra shock lands. Not going to help Prinz out very much here.
Yeah, Cedric, talk me through how Christoph Prinz was able to beat Riku Kumagai once already with this deck.
I don't want to say it was a result of that mulligan of 5 in game number 3. I mean, it certainly didn't hurt, but it took a mulligan of 5 and then everything lining up beautifully for Prince to be able to win. Now, again, that's all part of competitive magic, and if that's what it takes to get a win, that's what it takes. But we're doing best 2 out of 3 matches here, folks, not best 2 out of 3 games. So you take that into account, and all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe the variance has worked out, and maybe it's better for our mono black player. I don't know. I think this is very tough for Prince. And more importantly, Prince knows it's very tough for Prince. Riley, you talked to him, and he was like, I don't want to play against either one of these people in the finals, but I was, fortunate draw steps and everything else. And look, that's all part of it. You can get a little lucky, and to get to where he's gotten in the grand finals of this tournament for the championship match, you got to get a little lucky along the way, not taking anything away from his ability to play the game. But this undoubtedly is gonna be tough.
Let's take a look at what makes it tough. Here is Riku Kumagai's mono black aggro list. I've loved it since the moment I saw it. Early on in this tournament, he brought it and he said, you know what? I think I've got it. And he just might. Cedric, the big question here for me is, for Riku Kumagai, what needs to go wrong? Just bad draws?
Pretty much. I mean, you've seen games where he's just bulldozed over these people and it hasn't even looked close. And when you take a look at the 4-color Reclamation build, you're also looking at a deck that some of its sweepers don't even get the job done. You know, Storm's Wrath is pretty good against this style of deck. Solar Blaze, not so much. Justice Strike can be good in certain circumstances, but, you know, a lot of the time, it's not good enough either. So some of the cards that were brought to the table aren't even particularly good in the matchup. So if I'm Riku Kumagai, all I'm thinking right now is, first of all, I'm kind of tired. But I'm going to wake up, I'm going to get my bearings, and I'm just going to think to myself, hey, deck, just some normalized draws. I don't need the top end of my ceiling to beat my opponent. If I get the bottom end, well, we saw me mulligan at 5, and I still almost won. I want something just right in the middle, because if I get my draws right in the middle, I think I'm going to win this tournament.
All right, well, it's best 2 out of 3 matches. It is time for the championship match. Is it beat 'em or is it join 'em? We'll find out after this.
Dragonfire off the top is going to allow Ray to be able to 2-for-1 himself again to get rid of the second Regisaur, but now this, this Strider is still a big threat here.
Not having a great card in hand. We see a scry into another Woe Strider. There's a Cindervines down, able to take out a Reclamation. Ping for all the non-creature spells that get cast.
Yeah, that was a perfect draw for William there. Gives him a great turn here with the double spell. 2 very powerful ones at that. Bottom. Definitely not ideal for Ray there. Bottom Spiral and Pool. And
Nightkick Ambusher with only one green mana.
Source.
That's devastating.
That's definitely, it feels bad.
Ray sitting here with the dog.
That honestly, that Nightpack Ambusher could have really brought Ray back into this game, but being stuck on single green is pretty brutal.
Yeah, would have been able to block that first Woe Strider, generate a token.
Yeah.
Block the second Woe Strider every single turn using the tokens being generated. Instead, we're seeing potentially just a game get ended here. A second Cindervines. Oh no. Right, you are not in a good spot.
Big time draw there. And yeah, I don't see, there's no Storm Drafts in Ray's. Oh, looks like.
Democratic just going threat after threat after threat. Here comes the Wilderness Reclamation, unable to even impact this game state. In fact, would end the game even sooner by giving a target for the Cindervines.
Wow, and there it is.
That's game. William Craddock, our champion from Players Tour 3.